In the scorching deserts of the American West, in the year 1865, Jack Harper had finally found a fragile piece of peace. A battle-hardened former Union soldier, Jack had left the bloody fields of the Civil War behind and settled on a small, dusty farm at the edge of the frontier with his beloved wife, Sarah, and their 10-year-old daughter, Emily. The land was harsh, but it was theirs. They raised a few cattle, grew what crops the dry soil allowed, and at night they sat under the vast starlit sky, dreaming of a better tomorrow. One fateful night, that dream was shattered forever. The sound of thundering hooves shattered the silence. A gang of outlaws, led by the notorious Bloody Bill Callahan, stormed the farm. These were not ordinary bandits. They were vicious killers who left nothing but blood and ashes in their wake. Jack grabbed his rifle and fought like a man possessed, but the outlaws were too many. A bullet tore through his side. He watched in helpless horror as Bloody Bill shot Sarah in the chest while she tried to protect Emily. The little girl's screams were cut short by another gunshot. When the gang finally rode away with their stolen cattle and supplies, they left Jack lying in a pool of his own blood, certain he was dead. But Jack Harper refused to die. Hours later, he dragged himself into the burning farmhouse, using the last of his strength to bandage his wounds with torn cloth and whiskey. Pain consumed him, but a colder fire burned deeper, the fire of pure, unrelenting vengeance. He buried his wife and daughter under the old oak tree the next morning, his hands shaking as he carved their names into wooden crosses. "I will find every last one of you," he whispered to the graves, "and I will send you straight to hell." With nothing left but his old army revolver, a hunting knife, his loyal horse named Ranger, and a single canteen, Jack set out into the merciless desert. The sun beat down like a hammer. His wounds burned with infection. Hunger gnawed at his stomach and thirst cracked his lips. Yet every step forward was fueled by the faces of Sarah and Emily. He followed the gang's trail, hoofprints, campfire ashes, and the occasional discarded item. Bloody Bill's gang was heading toward the rugged mountain country, where lawmen rarely ventured. Jack knew the journey alone could kill him before he ever faced his enemies. This was no longer just a hunt for revenge. This was survival in its rawest form. The desert tested Jack in ways war never had. By the third day, his water was gone. He sucked on pebbles to create saliva and cut open barrel cacti with his knife, drinking the bitter liquid inside. At night, the temperature dropped sharply, and he huddled under a thin blanket, listening to the howls of coyotes and the distant screams of mountain lions. Once, a rattlesnake struck at his boot. Jack's reflexes, sharpened by years of battle, saved him. He skinned the snake and ate it raw, grateful for the protein. Another time, he spotted riders in the distance and had to hide behind rocks for hours under the blazing sun, barely breathing. As he crossed into the foothills, Jack found the first real clue, the remains of a small wagon train the gang had attacked. Bodies lay scattered, most stripped of everything valuable. Among the dead, Jack saw a familiar brand on a saddlebag. Bloody Bill had been here. His body grew weaker, but his will grew stronger. He began talking to himself, sometimes to Sarah and Emily, promising them justice. Sleep brought nightmares of the night of the attack. He would wake up, reaching for a gun that wasn't there. One evening, as storm clouds gathered and thunder rolled across the mountains, Jack heard a different sound, a woman's cry for help. He approached cautiously, revolver drawn. Tied to a tree near a dying campfire was a young woman, no older than 22. Her clothes were torn, her face bruised, but her eyes burned with defiance. She said her name was Lily. The same gang had attacked her family's stagecoach 2 weeks earlier. They killed her father and brother, took her as a prisoner, and she had managed to escape only the previous night. When they recaptured her, they left her here to die slowly. Jack cut her loose. At first, Lily was wary of the tall, scarred stranger, but she saw the same pain in his eyes that she carried in her heart. They struck an uneasy alliance. Lily knew the mountains better than Jack and had overheard the bandits talking about their main hideout, a place called Black Hollow, deep in the ridges. Together, they faced new dangers. Flash floods nearly swept them away. They climbed steep cliffs where one wrong step meant death. They fought off a pack of hungry wolves using fire and bullets. Lily proved herself a quick learner with a gun, and Jack taught her how to track and survive. Slowly, a bond formed between the broken man and the fierce young woman. Revenge had brought them together, but survival was keeping them alive. The deeper they traveled into the wild country, the more Jack and Lily understood the true cost of their journey. Food became scarce. They survived on wild berries, hunted rabbits, and once a deer that Jack brought down with a lucky long shot. Lily's knowledge of edible plants saved them more than once. One night, around a small hidden fire, Lily told Jack her full story. She had dreams of becoming a school teacher before the attack. Now those dreams felt like they belonged to another person. Jack spoke little of his past, but he shared enough. The war, the loss of friends, and finally, the loss of everything he loved. For the first time in months, he felt something close to human connection again. Their peace was short-lived. Bloody Bill had sent scouts looking for the escaped girl. One afternoon, 2 armed riders spotted them. A fierce gunfight erupted among the rocks. Jack killed one man with a precise shot, while Lily wounded the second, who fled to warn the gang. Now the hunters knew someone was coming for them. The mountains grew colder and steeper. Snow began to fall as they crossed high passes. Jack's old war wound ached constantly. Fever returned one night, and Lily stayed awake tending to him, forcing him to drink water and wiping his forehead. In his delirium, Jack called out for Sarah and Emily. Lily held his hand and whispered that he was not alone anymore. When he recovered, they pushed forward with renewed urgency. They crossed dense pine forests where sunlight barely reached the ground. Here, survival meant staying silent. They avoided Indian trails where tensions were high and stayed clear of mining camps filled with desperate men. Jack began teaching Lily everything he knew from his soldier days: how to reload quickly, how to move without making sound, how to read the land. In return, Lily gave him something he thought he had lost forever: a reason to keep living beyond revenge. She reminded him that destroying the gang wouldn't bring his family back, but perhaps it could give their souls peace. As they finally approached the region of Black Hollow, the tension became unbearable. They could see smoke rising from the outlaw camp in the distance. Bloody Bill's gang numbered nearly 20 men. Jack and Lily were only 2. That night, under a cold moon, they made their final preparations. Jack cleaned his revolver with steady hands. Lily checked the rifle she now carried with confidence. They both knew this could be their last sunrise. Jack looked at Lily and spoke quietly. "Whatever happens tomorrow, you've given me back a piece of my soul. Thank you." The final battle for revenge and survival was about to begin. Dawn broke over Black Hollow with a blood-red sky. Jack and Lily moved like ghosts through the rocky terrain surrounding the outlaw camp. The gang had grown careless in their mountain fortress. Whiskey flowed freely, and laughter echoed between the cliffs. Jack's plan was simple but deadly. He would create a distraction by setting fire to their stored supplies and stolen horses, while Lily provided cover from the high rocks. They synchronized their pocket watches, old army issue, and moved into position. At exactly 7 o'clock, Jack struck a match. Flames roared up as dry hay and gunpowder caught fire. Panicked shouts filled the camp. Outlaws ran in every direction, grabbing weapons. That's when Jack stepped out, revolver blazing. He moved with the cold precision of a man who had nothing left to lose. "Bloody Bill!" he roared. "I've come for you!" Bullets whistled past him. Jack dropped 2 men before they could even aim properly. From her position, Lily picked off another who tried to flank Jack. The camp descended into chaos. Jack fought his way through the smoke and gunfire, searching for the man who had destroyed his life. He took a grazing bullet to the shoulder, but didn't stop. Pain only fueled his rage. Finally, he saw him. Bloody Bill Callahan, a tall, bearded man with cold, dead eyes, standing near the largest cabin with a shotgun in his hands. Their eyes met across the battlefield. Bill smiled. "So you're the farmer who wouldn't die," Bill laughed. "Should have finished the job myself." The 2 men charged at each other. Jack's revolver clicked empty. He dropped it and drew his knife. Bill fired the shotgun, missing by inches. They crashed together in brutal hand-to-hand combat. Fists, elbows, and blades flashed. Jack was weaker from his long journey, but his fury was unmatched. With one final surge of strength, Jack drove his knife deep into Bloody Bill's chest. The outlaw leader gasped, eyes wide with shock, and collapsed to the ground. The remaining gang members, seeing their leader dead, began to flee or surrender. Lily came down from the rocks, rifle still raised. She stood beside Jack as the last shots faded. Jack stood over Bloody Bill's body, breathing heavily. The revenge he had dreamed of for so long was finally complete. Yet as he looked at the blood on his hands, he felt no joy, only emptiness and profound exhaustion. Lily placed a gentle hand on his wounded shoulder. "It's over, Jack." In the weeks that followed, Jack and Lily left Black Hollow behind. The law eventually arrived, but by then, the 2 survivors had already disappeared into the wilderness. Jack's body slowly healed, but the scars, both visible and invisible, would remain forever. He buried his revolver and knife under a pile of stones high in the mountains, a symbolic end to his old life. Revenge had sustained him through the darkest days, but it could not bring back what he had lost. Lily decided to travel with him. They headed west toward the distant promise of California, where the land was said to be kinder and the past easier to leave behind. Along the way, they helped other travelers, shared their supplies, and slowly began to heal. One quiet evening, sitting by a peaceful river under a sky full of stars, Jack finally spoke the words he had carried for so long. "I thought killing them would fix everything," he said. "But it turns out surviving and finding a reason to keep going, that's what matters most." Lily smiled softly. "We both lost everything. Maybe we can build something new together." Jack Harper, the broken soldier and vengeful ghost of the desert, had survived the impossible. The Wild West had tried to destroy him, but instead, it forged him into something stronger. A man who understood the true price of survival. And for the first time since that terrible night, Jack looked toward the future with something resembling hope.